Welcome back to MMA Oddsbreaker. I'm Frank Trigg. Today we're talking to Charlie Brenneman, who's getting ready to fight UFC 172 this weekend against Danny Castillo. Charlie, it's Wednesday. You're already in the hotel. You're relaxing, obviously. We're you're one of the few fighters I can call early for their interview, and you're ready. It's very strange. You always seem to be ready early for me. I don't know if you do that for all your media, but for me, you're always ready early. Give us a Wednesday. You checked in last night to the hotel, but give us a Wednesday. What are you going to do today with a fight coming up on Saturday?
Well, first and foremost, nobody told me to say this, but I really enjoy your interviews, and you're one of the ones that I thoroughly enjoy and I would make time for. So appreciate that. I appreciate that. But yeah, so today I got down here last evening. I do one hard workout on Tuesday, but I was able to do that at my house because I only live an hour and a half from here. And then last night I got together with some of my one of my sponsors, IAVA, and had dinner with those guys. And then just kind of slept in. Well, I have a baby, so I get up early all the time now. But I got up at 7:30 and a lot of relaxing, eating. My coaches are just getting here, so we'll go through a little bit of a workout this afternoon, basically just kind of touching on the little things, and then basically just try to relax and start getting my mind right.
Now, you said you had dinner last night with your sponsor. Now, tell me what you ate. Is you first answer this? Is your weight good? You're close to making weight. You're not going to have a problem come Friday night.
Correct. I can't say I do it the most scientifically. One of my trainers told me that I could be a 45-pounder if I really wanted, but I do it consistently is how I put it. But last night I had lettuce wraps with chicken and shrimp, and then I had about a total of one sushi roll, about half of two sushi rolls. So that's what I had, and I'm loading with water. I woke up this morning, I was 10 pounds over, and I could have woken up lighter if I wanted to, but there was no real need to do that yet. Tomorrow I'll probably wake up 8 over, and cut the left those 8 pounds tomorrow night and Friday morning.
Okay, so Friday morning, what do you want to wake up at? Will you be on weight when you wake up Friday morning, or are you going to be a couple pounds over and have to get a light workout in?
Yeah, I'll be over. This is probably my 7th time making 155, and I've ranged anywhere from I think 159.6 to 162.6, something like that. So I'll be between. I make 56. I don't make 55, but I'll be anywhere from I guess 4 to 6 pounds.
That's you say it's not very scientific, but I'm asking you questions and you're giving me the scientific answer. So you say I'm not very scientific, but you kind of are. You kind of understand what your body does and how your body works.
I'm very thorough, and when I say scientific, I mean I'm not drinking distilled water. I'm not counting that this has sodium and that doesn't have sodium. But the second half of what you said is 100% correct. I know what my body can take. I know what's good for it, what's bad for it, how I physically feel, the fact that I went to the bathroom this many times versus this many times. So I guess, yes, over the last 20 years, I've picked up the nuances of my body, but the actual macronutrients of the equation is not set.
And to be honest with you, I'm an old head. I've always been a guy just eat right and train hard and take a little. You have to take a couple pieces of supplements, kind of like a little bit more protein and a little more of this or that. But I'm the same way. I'm just like I know my body can cut. When I'm cutting weight, I know I can cut 4 pounds in an hour, and that's just what it is. But I know that, and that's just how I work it. You seem to be in the same boat. You seem to understand that's how your body works. That is science. Science doesn't necessarily have to be like everybody else does. It's what works for you.
Yeah, and I often think of, like people say, how do you do it? How do you do it? I don't even know. I don't even know if I could write it down on a piece of paper how I do it. I just do it because that's me, and I know me better than anything I know in the world. So to me, it's relatively simple.
Trust me, in 10 more years of you doing this, you'll be able to write it down because you've done it so often, you kind of get the steps. But I couldn't. Somebody asked me maybe 3 or 4 years ago to write down how I cut weight, and I, for the life of me, had to stop to think about it. Like I had no idea like how I did it. It's a very personal thing. It's not something that you learn. It's like what you learn from 100 different people. It's not something you learn from one person. So it's a very personal thing, and it's very difficult to give it to somebody else because you're not really sure exactly what you're doing half the time.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Danny Castillo. He's your opponent. He's the focus that you have, obviously, tonight, tomorrow night, all the way through till Saturday night when it's over. What does Danny bring to the table that you find is his best what he believes is his best thing. Now understand, and not necessarily what you think is his best thing, but what do you think Danny thinks is his best thing when he comes in there, comes into the cage?
I think for this fight, it might be a little bit different than what he thinks is best for his other fights. I think if you would ask people what's Danny Castillo best at, they'd say, well, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I think for this fight that he truly believes that he can trump my wrestling and my takedowns and then exploit me either on our feet or exploit me from top position, from him being in top position. I really think strongly that he believes that his wrestling is on par with my wrestling.
And have you spent more time knowing that Danny's, up to train with Alpha Male, that they're coming from a wrestling background? Did you spend more time in this training camp working on your wrestling specifically to counter what he's going to try and come in?
I can't say I spent more time solely on the wrestling. I've wrestled as probably more, well, maybe a little bit more time, but not necessarily as a direct result of fighting Castillo. I did it because I realized that's when I perform my best. But I have worked a few other positions, in case I end up on my back. Because, he takes down good guys. He took down Shane Roller. He took down Jacob Volkman, neither of which I would say have very good wrestling for, not very good, they're obviously good, but great wrestling for fighting. I think that's the area that I excel a bit more than those guys. But I've worked a couple different things specific to, the fact that Castillo's not, I can almost guarantee he's going to try to take me down just to prove a point.
Yeah, but that's kind of his mentality. I can kind of see that too. Like sometimes he fights to prove a point. He's going to outstrike the striker. He's going to out-wrestle the wrestler. He's going to try to out-submit the submitter, even though that's not necessarily his best game. Or is that his best game? Is the fact that he puts so much passion into trying to beat you at your best spot, does that make him less dangerous or more dangerous in your opinion?
I think initially it'll probably make him more dangerous, but then he's playing with in a tricky situation because if I'll say pretty confidently when he realizes that, oh crap, this isn't going to work, then that's a mental block in the middle of the fight that he's going to have to overcome. And as well as I do from being you were a higher level wrestler than I was in college, but that maybe if he's a little bit close to me, but after 5, 6, 7, 8 takedown attempts, that difference, that this disparagement, perhaps, that difference is going to be exploited, and you're going to be able to see, oh, okay, this guy is clearly the better wrestler.
Right. So for Wednesday, around lunchtime, you seem to be pretty calm, and you're pretty cool-headed right now. A lot of guys I talk to, when they're in the hotel room already, they're starting to get real anxious. The fight's imminent now. They may not be thinking about it, last week Wednesday, but this week Wednesday, now they're in the hotel, they're in fight mode. Do you find yourself sometimes thinking about Danny a little bit too much because the fight's only 3 days away or 4 days away?
You know what? For about the last week and a half or so, when I'm going to bed at night, I start to mentally put myself into the situation so that by the time I get to today, it's not an overload of, oh crap, the fight's this week. I really start to visualize. One of my biggest things is how that canvas feels on the bottom of your feet. And when I've been going to bed, when I've been, thinking about this stuff, I've been putting myself in that situation. So instead of that, oh crap, it's time to go feeling, it's, yes, finally it's here. And, my corner is exactly what I needed to be this fight. I have my BJJ coach, my striking coach, and my brother Ben, who pretty much is a jack of all trades with me. So it's like I have my soldiers, and I'm ready to go into the fight. There's literally nothing that I couldn't want with me anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Charlie Brenneman getting ready to fight Danny Castillo here on UFC 172 this Saturday night. Charlie, thanks for coming on here. I appreciate it, especially on a Wednesday, and I really do appreciate the kind words you said about our interviews earlier. It means a lot to me, especially moving from being a competitor to being an interviewer and being a fan of the sport to having guys I like to interview actually like to be interviewed by me. So it was a special treat for you to say that to me, and I appreciate it.
And my pleasure, man. And I really mean it. We can do it early in the morning, late at night, whenever it is. Just let me know. And I appreciate you giving me the time of day. A lot of people don't care about the fight pass prelims, but I appreciate the interest that you give me.
Hey, that's my pleasure, and because I see the future in both you and I interviewed Danny a couple days ago. I see the future in both of you. The question is, which one of you guys is going to grab it and move forward? I've seen
Yeah.
your long trek of being in the UFC and then being out and being on those regional circuit shows and going and realizing this sucks. I can't wait to get back to the big leagues. And then
Yeah.
taking your shot and just trying to get there. And there's a lot of, you have a lot of respect for me because you didn't stop working for your dream, even though the person that was able to continue your dream said we're going to stop and push you to the side for a while. And you're like, I'm not
Yep.
stopping. Like, I'm going to keep going through these smaller shows and just try to force myself to be better. And you came out better, even though against Dalush we didn't get to see it because you got caught, but you became a better fighter because you did spend that time in the smaller shows. So you're always going to have my respect, and you're always going to have me as a fan, whether you're on the absolute first fight of the night, at 3:30 in the afternoon that I have to hurry up and rush to get in there to watch, or if you're the main
Yep.
event, you're always going to have me as a fan.
Well, I appreciate it, buddy. And thank you again for your time.
You got it. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.